Hi dear students, how are you? In our last class we learned chapter 8 confronting marginalization. Do you remember? Last class onwards we are discussing confronting marginalization, about marginalization and its peculiarities. Do you have any idea? In our last class we learned laws for the marginalized. What are the laws provided by the government to protect marginalized society or Dalit people? And also we learn promoting social justice. How to promote social justice? Our government provide lot of measures to provide or protecting justice. Understand? After that we learn protecting the rights of minorities or Adivasis. Okay. Then Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989. Okay. Here we are going to learn about what are the special provisions adopted by the government to protect Adivasis or Dalit people. We already learned that things in our previous classes. Okay, we learn Article 17 of the Constitution states that untouchability has been abolished. Okay, that also we learn. After that we learn what promoting social justice. How to promote. As part of their effort implement the constitution, both state and central government create specific schemes for implementation in tribal areas or in areas that have high Dalit population. And also then every colleges, especially to institutions of professional education such as medical colleges, governments defines a set of cut-off mark. This means that not all Dalit and tribal candidates can qualify for admission, but only those who have done reasonably. Okay. Well and secured marks above the cut-off point, that all things we learn. Okay. Did you read our text? After that we learn what Prevention of Atrocities Act, one important act set up by government protect the Dalit people. Okay, what is the speciality of that act? Do you remember? Just think your mind. The act was framed in 1989 in response to demands made by Dalits and others. Government must take seriously the ill treatment and humiliation Dalits and tribal groups face in everyday sense. While such treatment had persisted for a long time, it had acquired a violent character in the 1970s and 1980s. Through this act, Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, the government provide lot of steps to the upliftment of the Dalit and Adivasi people. Understand? After that we learn what implications of that Act, Prevention Act 1989. Do you remember? Did you read the text? Now we are going to learn one incident related to manual scavenging. Here we can tell one of the malpractices or one of the bad things existed in Adivasis or among Dalits. That is called manual scavenging. Manual scavenging. Okay. What do you mean by manual scavenging? Manual scavenging, what do you mean by? Removal of unwanted things. Okay, this is one practice existed in Dalit and Adivasi people. Okay, one practices manual scavenging. What is that? What is the importance? Okay, in our first onwards this chapter we study a lot of things related to Adivasis. They suffer a lot of things from the society. Understand? Here another example also, here we learn manual scavenging. Okay. Look your text, page number 101. Okay. The scores of manual scavenging. Manual scavenging refers to the practice of removing human and animal waste excreta using brooms. That is the important thing. That is one practice existed in Adivasi people. Removal of unwanted things or animal and human waste or excreta by using brooms. That is called manual scavenging. അതായത് തോട്ടിവേല എന്ന് പറയും. അതായത് നമുക്കറിയാം എന്താണ് ആദിവാസികൾക്കിടയിൽ നിലനിന്നിരുന്ന ഒരു ദുഷിച്ച ഒരു പ്രവണതയായിരുന്നു മാനുവൽ സ്കാവഞ്ചിങ്. അതായത് അവരെ ഉപയോഗിച്ച് ടേക്കിംഗ് അൺവാണ്ടഡ് തിങ്സ്, അതായത് ആരുടെയൊക്കെയാണ് ആനിമൽസ് ആൻഡ് ഹ്യൂമൻ എക്സ്ക്രീറ്റ, അൺവാണ്ടഡ് തിങ്സ് വേസ്റ്റ് അവർ കളക്ട് ചെയ്ത് അത് ചുവന്നുകൊണ്ട് പോയി ഡിസ്പോസ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ആ ഒരു സിറ്റുവേഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു എന്ത്, മാനുവൽ സ്കാവഞ്ചിങ്. അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ്? കം ടു അവർ ടെക്സ്റ്റ്. Manual scavenging refers to the practice of removing human and animal waste excreta using brooms. Tin plates and baskets from dry latrines and carrying it on the head disposed ground some distance away. It is carrying on the head and to the disposal ground. Okay, it is one important practices existed in the Dalit people. Who will done it? The Dalit woman and young girls. Who will done? The Dalit woman and young girl using who are using the Dalit woman and young girls. Okay. Then a manual scavenger is the person who does the job of carrying this filth. This filth here meaning that waste. Okay. This job is mainly done by Dalit woman and young girl. That crucial job, that filth meaning that crucial job, that work is done by mainly Dalit woman and young girl. Understand? That manual scavenger is belong to who? That system is called manual scavenging. That person are called manual scavengers. Understand? Who will done that work? The Dalit woman and young girl. Understand? Where it existed? That among the Dalit people or Adivasi people at that time. Okay. Continue. A manual scavenger is the person who does the job of carrying this filth. This job is mainly done by Dalit women and young girls. You also notice. According to the Andhra Pradesh based Safai Karamchari Andolan, underline that important organization. According to the Andhra Pradesh based Safai Karamchari Andolan, an organization working with manual scavengers, there are 13 lakh persons from Dalit communities who continue to be employed in this job in this country and who work in the 96 lakh private and community dry latrine managed by municipalities. The real situation want to underline. We want to notice that in our country, we want to bothered about our country's situation at that time. What was the condition? The community and the municipality also controlled or owned by that the ownership of that dry latrines. Okay, come to here. Then an organization working with manual scavengers, there are 13 lakh persons from Dalit communities who continue to be employed. About 13 lakh people are work this kind of job. Okay, very horrible situation was there. Around 30 lakh people are worked there, and also we can see that then employed in this job in this country and who work in the 96 lakh private and community dry latrines managed by the municipality. The municipality is also controlled by that dry latrines managed by municipalities. According to the Andhra Pradesh based Safai Karamchari Andolan, one organization, okay, working manual scavengers, they revealed that was the condition existed in the where Adivasi people, among the Adivasis. That name is called manual scavengers. That job is called manual scavenging, where it work. It existed in the among the Adivasi people. Okay, Adivasi people. Understand? The 13 lakh people work there and 96 lakh private and community dry latrine managed by municipalities. Understand? After that, manual scavengers are exposed to subhuman conditions of work and face serious health hazards. What are the implications? What are the after effects? After that, what happened? That people suffered lot of health problems. What are the problems? They suffer. They are constantly exposed to infections that are affect their eyes, skin, respiratory and gastrointestinal system. Respiratory system, Shwasanendriyamaya, related to respiratory organ, and also gastrointestinal system, ഉദരസംബന്ധമായ അതായത് വയറിനെ ബാധിക്കുന്ന അസുഖങ്ങൾ. ഓക്കെ. Then manual scavengers are exposed to subhuman conditions of work and face serious health hazards. They suffer lot of health problems. They adversely affect their health conditions. What are the problem facing? They are facing respiratory problems and also gas intestinal system and also skin and eye problem. They also suffer lot of problems. Understand? After the impact of manual scavenging. Okay. They get very low wages for the work they perform. Those working in urban municipalities rupees 30 to 40 per day, and those working private are paid much less. Their wage is very less. Their remunerations are very less, as per 30 to 40 per day. Understand? And also those working in urban municipalities earn 30 to 40 per day, and those working privately are paid much less. Okay, private, that remuneration is compared with the government or municipality very less. Okay, then here we want to bothered about what was the condition existed in the Dalit people, among the Dalit or Adivasi people. Okay, we want to make aware about our country's condition was existed in early times. Okay. Then third paragraph, as you have read earlier in this book, the practice of untouchability has been abolished by the Indian Constitution. We already discussed our previous classes. We learned untouchability, that our constitutionally banned untouchable. Okay. Then however, manual scavengers in different parts of the country, the Bangis in Gujarat, the Pagis in Andhra Pradesh and the Sikaliyas in Tamil Nadu continue to be considered untouchable. We know that we already learned some untouchabilities are existed in our society, case of where Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, etc. that also banned. Okay. They often live in separate settlements on the outskirts of the village and are denied access to the temple, public water facilities, etc. Our constitution already prohibited that kind of untouchability. Before that, all type of public facilities, public well, road, that things are restricted. Understand? Then that's why what happened here. In 1993, the government passed the Employment of Manual Scavengers and Construction of Dry Latrines Prohibition Act. In 1993, our government took some initiative step. Our government takes some step to provide better conditions of manual scavengers. What are the steps? Okay. What was the condition? This law prohibits the employment of manual scavengers as well as construction of dry latrine. This law, 1993, our government supported one important act. Our government provided one important act, that 1993, our government abolished the construction of dry latrines and employment of manual scavengers. At last, our government take initiative or steps to provide better conditions of manual scavengers. Our government totally prohibited that work, that manual scavenging. Understand? Our government take one important law in 1993, that the Construction of Dry Latrine or Prohibition Act. Underline that important point. In 2003, the Safai Karamchari Andolan and 13 other organizations and individuals, including 7 scavengers, filed a PIL in the Supreme Court. Here in 2003, here we can see that the manual scavengers filed a petition before the Supreme Court. What happened there? The petitioners complained that manual scavenging still existed and it continued in government undertaking like the railway. They argued that in 1993, government passed one important act. The government prohibit the construction of dry latrine and the employment of what? Manual scavengers. But in 2003, what happened? Some manual scavengers filed a petition. Manual scavengers filed a petition till continue that type of job, that type of work even in the railway and other areas. Okay, that's why in 2003 the Safai Karamchari Andolan and 13 other organizations and individuals, including before the Safai Karamchari Andolan, that organization, and also 13 other organizations supported the manual scavengers. They filed a petition before the Supreme Court. Understand? After that, what happened? The petitioners argued that the manual scavenging also continue that work some areas in our country, especially in railway station and other areas. They argued that. Then the petitioners complained that manual scavenging still existed and it continued in government undertaking like the railways. The court observed that the number of manual scavengers in India had increased since the 1993 law. It directed every department, ministry of the union government and the state government to verify the facts within 6 months. The government, what happened? The government enquired what was the condition of the manual scavengers. The government and the state government to verify the facts within 6 months. The government told that within 6 months the government want to verify, want to study about the life conditions of the manual scavengers, the conditions of the dry latrine. Government want to know about the conditions of the manual scavengers. Understand? Then if manual scavenging was found to exist, then the government department has to actively take up a time-bound program of their liberation and rehabilitation. After 2003, we can tell our government take positive step to uplift the manual scavengers, the liberation and rehabilitation time-bound program. Understand? Our government take the positive steps to support our manual scavengers. Understand? Rehabilitation process and also liberation process. This is the manual scavenging or the conditions of manual scavengers existed in the Dalit people or Adivasi people, among the Adivasi or Dalit people. Understand? In this chapter, we learn lot of things related to Adivasis, their rights, they wanted social justice, and also the important confronting marginalization, and also what the Prevention of Atrocities Act 1989, and at last we learn manual scavenging. The next page 102, what Adivasi demands on 1989 Act. Then we want to conclude our chapter. What then? Who is the Kerala's leader, Adivasi leader? Do you know who is that? C.K. Janu. Okay. Then Adivasis are that page number 102. Adivasi demands and the 1989 Act. The 1989 Act is important for another reason. Adivasi activists referred to defend their right to occupy land that was traditionally theirs. As you read in the previous chapter, Adivasis are often unwilling to move from their land and are forcibly displaced. We know that Adivasis are every time they are unwilling, they are not ready to move from one place to another. Why? That place, their inhabitant place. Okay. The Adivasis have asked that those who have forcibly encroached upon tribal lands should be punished under this law. If anybody forcibly encroaches upon tribal lands should be punished according to their law. If anyone or any company or any person forcefully encroach with the help, support or forcefully encroach or displaced from their land, they are what under this punished under this law. Under this law, which law? 1989 Act. 1989 Act. If anybody forcefully encroach or displaced from Adivasis place, that persons or that companies are punished under the law. Understand? Then they have also pointed out the fact that this act merely confirms what has already been promised to tribal people in the constitution, that land belonging to the tribal people cannot be sold to bought by non-tribal people. In cases where this happens, the constitution guarantees the right of tribal people to repossess their land. The constitution guarantees what the tribal people to repossess their land. C.K. Janu, an Adivasi activist, has also pointed out that one of the violators of constitutional rights guaranteed to tribal people are governments in the various states in India, for it is they who allow non-tribal encroachers in the form of, who are the encroachers? Who are the encroachers? Timber merchants, paper mills, etc. exploit tribal land and forcibly evict tribal people from their traditional forests in the process of declaring forests as reserved or as sanctuaries. Who are the encroachers? Who are the encroachers? Do you have any idea? The timber merchants and also what paper mills companies and also the sanctuaries. We can see the lot of sanctuaries. Okay, wildlife sanctuaries. They are encroachers. What happened there? Exploit tribal land and forcibly evict tribal people from their traditional force. They are that group peoples are always what evict from their traditional forest, evict. Okay, and they are not ready. They are unwilling. Okay. Then what happened for their traditional forests in the process of declaring forests as reserved or as sanctuaries? She has also noted that in cases where tribals have already been evicted and cannot go back to their lands, they must be compensated. That is, the government must draw up plans and policies for them to live and work elsewhere. After all, government spend large sums of money of building industry of. Here we can see that one reality. What is the reality? Government spend lot of money to construct new companies, new building, new sanctuaries, etc. The government bill lot of money. She argued that, C.K. Janu argued that what government spend lot of money, lot of what developmental tax or developmental program. She argued that the government spend lot of money to the upliftment of new industrial work or another upliftment of another programs or process. But she argued that what after all, government spend large sums of money and building industrial or other projects on land taken from tribals. So why should they be reluctant to spend even very modest amounts of rehabilitating the displaced? Reluctant, but the government not ready to, not willing to enough money to spend the rehabilitation process or displace the Adivasis. She argued that government is ready to spend lot of money to lot of welfare activities or developmental works, but the government is reluctant or unwilling. What then reluctant government is? Why should they be reluctant to spend even very modest amount of rehabilitating the displaced? Or the government is what should they ready to reluctant to spend even very modest amount of rehabilitating the displaced? Why? She asked one doubt. Okay, she already telling. Okay, then here we can conclude our portion, our chapter 8, confronting marginalization. Here we learn lot of things. Here we learn some sketch, real proof related to Adivasi or Dalit people or Dalit community. Understand? In our previous classes, we learned lot of things about our Dalit people or Adivasi people. As we can see, the existence of right or a law or even a policy on paper does not mean that it exists in reality. What happened here? We can see the existence of right or law or even a policy on paper does not mean it is existent. In reality, that is not exist. The rehabilitation process and providing better conditions of the Dalit people that not real things that not exist. Okay. That paper is in paper or principle, that is correct. Okay. People have had to constantly work on or make efforts to translate these into principles that guide the actions of their fellow citizens or even their leaders. The desire for equality, dignity and respect is not new. It has existed in different forms throughout our history. As you have seen this chapter, similarly even in democratic societies, similar process of struggle, writing, negotiation and organization need to continue. In our present scenario, we can see that lot of agitation, lot of violence related to Adivasi people. Okay, you want to read our newspapers and magazine. Adivasis people are suffering a lot of things. Here we can tell even in a democratic society, similar process of struggle, writing magazine articles and other things, negotiation and organization need to continue. That is a continuous process. They want full freedom. They want their forested area. They want to their inhabited areas. Understand? Today we can wind up our class. Today we can finish our chapter. You want to read our text very carefully and underline important point. You want to prepare lecture note. If you have any doubt, contact me personally. You want to write that glossaries also. Here we can see that assertive, confront, dispose, the hostile, morally reprehensible, policy. Okay, you want to write that glossary also your notebook. Very important topic. And also we want to notice important thing also. Now we can wind up our class. Thank you. Have a very good day.